Okay, so I'm sitting with Michael Port today. We're aboard his beautiful Prestige 550. We're just kind of talking here a little bit, sitting in downtown Annapolis. Michael, tell me a little bit about the boat. Actually, let's start, where are you coming from and where are you headed?
Well, right now I am headed to just Lake Ogleton, which is just maybe 3/4 of a mile away.
Right.
Because during the boating season, I try to work as little as possible. Which
a good goal.
Yeah, and so what I do is I try to organize my company events in places where I can bring the boat.
Okay, so the boat, you're actually using the boat a little bit in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
for example, this time we rented 3 homes. We're bringing 25 clients in to stay at the homes.
Oh, wow.
They'll be there for 5 days. We'll work with them over those 5 days.
Right.
And I made sure that one of the homes has a dock that could accommodate my boat.
And tell me a little bit about what kind of led you to the Prestige 550.
Well, Josh was a big part of that.
Yep, already up there, in Baltimore, yep.
You know, I saw Prestige at the Annapolis Boat Show.
Okay.
And I fell in love with it. I just thought it was such a clean boat. The lines were so nice. And I said, well, you know, when you see a boat that you love, you want it, but you're not in the market at the moment. So I said, okay, well, that's it. I'm not gonna get it. And Josh stayed in touch with me over time, and I had great appreciation for that. And eventually I pulled the trigger, and I joke because I got married in December. So my family— This past December.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I had 1 child previously, and now I have 3.
Right.
So it gave me the perfect excuse to upgrade and go bigger.
Exactly.
Because of course you need an excuse.
You gotta need an excuse, right? We all need to justify going bigger.
Exactly. So I went into a bigger boat, and I tell you, I couldn't be happier. One of the things that I think is so fantastic about the design of the Prestige is that I think the styling will hold up. This is a big deal. I don't know if this is something you guys focus on, but when I'm looking at what some of the other brands are doing with their newer boats, is they almost feels like they're trying too hard. And sometimes when the designers push the envelope,
right,
the style doesn't hold up. It doesn't have the classic clean lines. So that, you know, that really spoke to me. So I've had the boat now for 5 weeks, and I took her single-handed up to Philly about 3 weeks ago, and I had the worst weather that I have ever seen on the bay.
Right.
I had 5-footers, 30, 35 knot winds.
Yeah.
And they were on the beam the whole time. And it was just a mess all the way up until the northern part of the Chesapeake. And she was great. She handled, there's no problem. I mean, look, if someone buys a boat of this size and they've never driven a boat before,
right, that
may be a little tricky. But for me, I take this very seriously. I think that if you're out on the water with your family and your friends, you have a serious obligation to know what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm obsessed. I mean, I study, you know, I have this, this sort of alter ego that likes the idea of being a salty sea captain out there, you know. So maybe when I retire or sell the companies or something, I'll go run a tugboat. Who knows?
There you go.
You know.
So I'd love to ask you just a few features of the boat that you really like. One of the features I like to just point out from my own point of view is it's not a very nice day outside.
Yeah.
It's gray. We've had a lot of rain lately, but we're in this beautiful bright salon. We got these gigantic windows, and it feels very warm and cozy.
Well, you really have a 360-degree visibility.
Right.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So that is the first time I saw the boat. That's one of those things that just bam, it really hits you how open it is, and the visibility is extraordinary. Often when you run a boat like this from in the cabin,
right,
you don't have great visibility.
Right.
But this, I have perfect visibility. The bow rise is negligible. It's like 5 degrees or something, or 8 degrees. It's really, really low. So that's really nice when you're up on plane. And even, you know, docking from inside, I have such great visibility.
Right.
When it's raining, I don't have to go up to the flybridge to dock, and I've got my docking station in the cockpit, which I love. It's fantastic.
And we've got this awesome interior steering station, and we often talk about that because when the weather gets too hot, too cold, too wet, too rough.
Oh, and it's so incredibly quiet. You know, I had my boat before did not have an interior helm. I only had a flybridge helm.
Right.
So when you talk to people, you'd have to, you know, raise your voice. Here, you can sit and have this exact same conversation inside. So I love that. I also absolutely love the fact that have a separate staircase down to the master.
Master bedroom, right?
Because as I said, we have 3 kids.
Right.
So this gives us an enormous amount of privacy, and the master is huge. It's just extraordinary, and the walk-in closet, and I mean, it's an amazing setup down there. So that really feels great. That kind of privacy is nice, and it gives us some distance from the kids on the boat.
Wonderful. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'm curious. So the boat's brand new. This is going to be your first season with the boat.
Yeah.
And is your family into this?
Oh, they're hardcore.
Yeah, they're excited about this?
They are. I mean, they've always been. And you know, the kids are 7, 11, and 12, and the 11 and 12-year-old are already learning how to dock the boat. You know, they love it. It's our greatest passion.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be happier being here and out on the water.
Well, Michael, thanks for taking the time here today. I'm glad I ran into you. If you need a hand, by the way, I'll drive out and meet you at Lake Ogleton and take your lines.
You can come over there with me. You know? Leave the stern line so you can get back on. I think it can be raining, it can be windy as all get out, but for me, it's
just being out on the water, right?
It's just another day in paradise.
Yeah, I know.
No matter what the conditions are like.
Yeah.
Everything just goes.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to see how fast she gets up on the boat?
Sure, let's go.
So boom, we get on Skyhook. And since I'm still sort of making a little bit of way, it'll takes a second or two to engage, and then you're going to see what happened is, since the wind is off our port side and it's blowing the bow off a little bit, in just a second it's going to go like this. It's going to move us over, see?
Yeah.
There. Now
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just to be able to sit here like
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
know that if you have some space around you, you're not going anywhere.
We're going to try to catch this outboard one first.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, thanks again.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
awesome for the ride. And
Thanks for helping me out.
we'll be back a
It's
little
rare
later.
that I actually have a professional crew.
I know, we fool everyone.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay,
Thanks.
awesome.